Well, good morning from Port Colborne, and we're talking fire prevention today. And I have to admit right off the top that I was supposed to do that, but me and heights just don't get along so well. So we do have a stand-in here, and we do have the fire prevention officer with us, Charles TURPIN, and just going to talk a bit about Fire Prevention Week, because again, this is the 100th anniversary of Fire Prevention Week. And I got to start it right from the very start. I want to ask you, the thought is that now with all the new materials and everything, there's just not that many fires anymore. Is that a fair thing to assume?
There's about the same amount of fires, if not more, but the problem is our furniture actually burns faster and hotter. So we don't have as much time to get out of a house anymore as we did back in the 60s or in the early days when we had natural fibers. So that's why fire won't wait for us to get out. We have to plan our escape ahead of time. And the only way we're going to know is working smoke alarms, working carbon monoxide alarms in our homes. Give us early warning, early detection as to when there's an emergency and we have to get out of the house as quickly as we can. We always want to use the door first,
Yep.
But if it's blocked by smoke or flames, we need a second way out, whether that be through another window, where they're going into another room. We have to have that, and we need to know that ahead of time. We can't think of it at the time of the emergency.
That's right. You don't have time to think. You have to react. It's just reaction as opposed to planning ahead of time. Now, most of us, fortunately, do only get our understanding of how fires work through TV and movies, and sometimes they go really fast and sometimes they go really slow, but that certainly isn't how things generally work. So what we think about fires is probably wrong in a lot of cases, and it's always, to my mind, you always see every year there's always fires, people die, and no working smoke detectors. And you would think by now that they're everywhere, but that's not the case. So how does one plan for that traumatic experience?
Well, first you have to have that working smoke alarm, and then you sit down with your family and you map out your house. You show where your exits are, you plan it, you work with your young children, you work with people that might have some mobility issues in order to plan who's going to go there to help them, who's going to go to that room to check on them. As the adult in the home, you need to take responsibility for everybody like you do on a daily basis. And you only have minutes to get out, and sometimes it can be seconds. It's the smoke that is so dangerous because you can't see it.
So it's not the fire itself.
The smoke, you can't see through it. It's thick, it's dark, it's full of carcinogens, it's full of stuff that you don't want in your lungs, and heat.
We're going to show that a little bit later on in the morning, how that actually works. And coming up next, we're going to go and do something that we all need to do, which is know how to use a fire extinguisher, and everybody should have a fire extinguisher in their house, shouldn't they?
They should, but they need to understand where it is and how to use it appropriately. So we're going to give you a lesson on that today.
Thanks for coming out today. And again, we're in Port Colborne talking about Fire Prevention Week, 100th anniversary. We'll talk to you about fire extinguishers and how they work. You should have one in your home. We'll talk about that coming up in a few minutes. It's Fire Prevention Week, and we are back in Port Colborne and talking about something that everybody needs to have in their house if they don't already. I don't know what the percentages are, but everybody should have a fire extinguisher. And with me today, come on in here, Sean. Sean Shooten, who's the Deputy Fire Chief in Wainfleet, just down the road here, just a little ways. And we're going to talk about something that everybody should have, and I don't know that everybody does. Is there a percentage of how many people actually have a fire extinguisher at home?
Steve, that's an excellent question. We feel that there's not enough people that have fire extinguishers in their home, and you can put out a lot of fire with an extinguisher even this size, and it would be good if people can make sure they know how to use them.
Okay, so let's do a hands-on thing right here.
For sure.
How does this all work? So we have one, something's happening, maybe a little grease fire on the stove or something like that. What do we do? Because we need to know ahead of time how to do it, not try to figure it out at the time, right?
Yeah, we need to make sure that the extinguisher we use is for the fire that we have. So this one's an ABC, and on the side of it shows a picture, right? We have, the first one is your Class A combustibles, we have liquids, and we have electrical fire. That we can use it on.
Okay, so this is what you're looking for. This is what you want to have, is something like that.
Correct.
All-purpose one. All right, how do we use this now?
The acronym we use is PASS. Pull, aim, squeeze, sweep.
Okay.
Right, we want to make sure our fire extinguisher, the arrow is in the green on the side of that gauge, which it is. So Steve, if you want to pull the pin on that.
Okay,
Show
just
people
pull
how
the
to
pin.
do it.
Just pull that.
There we go.
Okay,
Pin
well,
is
that
out.
was easy enough, right?
Now we're going to take this hose.
Take
we're
it
gonna
out.
Aim it towards the fire. That's the A of aim, or
Okay.
a pass. Squeeze.
Squeeze this.
Squeeze
just
that at the fire, and then sweep back and forth.
Just
and
back
put it
and forth
out.
like that?
That's
All
correct. Put it at the base of the fire. There you go.
Oh. Well, that is very effective.
It is very effective.
Wow. I didn't think it was that effective. But so that's how it works. It's just pull, aim it, squeeze, and do that kind of a thing. Now, on the other side of things, I have to ask you, should you be fighting your own fires?
Should always call 911 first before you go to attack the fire. If you're going to attempt to do it, make sure you stay between the fire and the exit so you don't get trapped inside. But make sure the fire department is on the way, and you can try to control it. If it gets too big, then exit the home and go to your meeting place and wait for the fire department.
Okay, but it is effective.
Very effective.
That's the first one I've ever hit. Actually, I've had one for years, but it just keeps going. And you can't reuse it, right? Once it's...
That's right. Once it's empty, then you have to either have it refilled if it's able to, or just buy a new one.
Now, if people, when people need one, and they should all get one who are watching today, where's the best place? Is there a place to go? Do you call the fire department? Do you go to a specific store or something like that?
Most hardware stores, Walmart, Canadian Tire, Home Hardware, anything like that, we'll carry them. Lowe's, Rona, for sure.
Okay, and again, what you're looking for is right here, and just go over this again. This is what one we want to have.
That's right, the class ABC.
ABC. Okay. So that's it. There's your primer for your fire extinguisher. Get one. I don't think they're that expensive.
Nope.
And it can save a life or many, many lives and help you in time of emergency. We're going to come back a little bit later on here in Port Colborne, and we're going to sort of do a show of how to escape out of a house, because as we talked about in our first segment, smoke is the thing that gets people. It's not the fire, it's the smoke that gets to people, and it gets to them quickly. So we're going to talk about that coming up in our next segment. So please join us. Good morning again from Port Colborne, and I want to introduce you to Catherine Moyer. And what Catherine is going to do today is walk you through what needs to be done when you sense that there's a problem in the house and there's smoke or it feels warm or something like that. And just before we get rolling on this thing, what I want to talk about is, you said don't use your hands.
All right.
To sense things, use the back.
Right. So Steve, the most important part, one of the most important parts, is when you're touching your door, if you think it's hot, to use the back of your hand. And the reason for that is if you burn it when you touch your door because it is hot and you go to crawl away, if you touch it with this hand, now you've hurt your hand. So touch it with the back, and it's the most sensitive part of your hand. So you're going to touch that to make sure the door is cool or hot, or and then you can get out of your building. But we're going to walk you through it. So
Okay,
that you know
we've learned a lot. We're learning a lot of things today about fire prevention and how to keep yourself safe at home and at work too. But I didn't realize. I always thought that this was the most sensitive part.
No, this is the most sensitive part, and you crawl away, and you'll be
all right.
able
Let's
to
do
it
this.
properly.
Okay. So what are we doing?
So you're going to lie in the bed.
Assume the position.
Yes, assume the position. Lie in your bed there, Steve. Yeah, you should cuddle up. I really believe you should.
Okay. It's a
So
little
as
short.
you're lying there, you're going to pretend you're sleeping. Fast asleep, middle of the night. And, yeah, exactly. So when you're asleep and you hear your smoke alarm going off,
Okay, there's a smoke alarm.
it wakes you up. You're startled.
You're
You need
groggy.
Yes, you're groggy.
Saying what's going on?
Right. So you stay low. You roll out of bed.
Stay
You
low.
Roll out of bed.
All
yes. And you're staying low because the good air is down here. If you have a fire, the bad smoke is going up here. The bad air is up here. The good air is down there.
Okay.
So you're going to touch your door.
Touch the door.
No, you touch it with the back
The back
of your
okay.
hand. Yes.
You told me that.
Yeah, I did.
Touch
So
it.
you touch
Okay.
the door
It's
with the
warm.
back of your hand. So it's
warm.
warm. So if it's warm, are you going to open that door to get out?
If I do, it's all going to come in.
There could be fire behind there.
Okay.
Exactly. So you want to touch the door. Your first way out is not a safe way out.
Okay.
So you're going to continue staying low.
Staying low.
Stay low. You're going to go to your second exit, which is your window. So you're
Okay.
going to crawl out of there. You're doing awesome, Steve.
Now, what if I'm on the second floor?
Well, then you should either have a ladder,
Okay.
or you could stay where you are and
Okay.
put a piece of like your pillowcase or something out the window so the firefighters know that you're there.
Okay.
Okay?
Now, do you want to break the window? Because I always thought that maybe by doing that you'd allow more air in and.
Well, so you need to get out, right?
Right.
So if you're going to break the window, there's
Or
a
open it.
possibility open it. So that's why it's important to not have materials in front of your window. You know, keep a clear space that you're able to. Sometimes we go to places and they actually have nailed their windows shut. That's an important thing that you have to make
Yikes.
sure you can get out of your window. Okay.
Right. Okay,
So
once
now
you get
you've
out of the
gotten
window-
out now, so you need to go to your meeting place.
Meeting place.
Meeting place. So your
So
meeting
this
place
is again
today-
part of the pre-planning that we do.
Pre-planning, yes. Fire won't wait and plan your escape. That's what it's about.
So then we meet
now
at
you're
the
at
tree.
your meeting place. Yep.
Everybody
So-
meets at the tree.
That's right. So once you get there, you stay there. You don't go back in for anything. And all your family members will know where to meet at the meeting place.
Okay, that's good. Any other small tips? So again, you stay low,
Stay low,
test with the back of your hand,
right? Yeah.
and get out the window. Don't go through the door because that could just. bring everything in.
If the door is not hot, you could go through the door.
Yeah, but if-
but because it's hot, you don't want to go that way.
I see. So it all predicates on having working smoke detectors.
Working smoke alarms is your first defense, right? They're going to alert you that something's wrong.
Now, where can one get one? A lot of people say, "Well, I'd have them, but I didn't know where to go and I
Yeah.
forgot." And blah, blah. So what
They
do you
can
do?
call us. Give us a call at the Port Colborne Fire Department, and we can come and install them for you. We have a smoke alarm program that we actually will assist people to do the installation.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's the first thing, and then get one of those ladders too if
Get
you're
one of those
sleeping
ladders
on the
if you're in
second
the
floor.
second floor, for sure. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, but you've got to live a fire-safe life, right? You've got to make sure that you're not burning candles, what have you, in the middle of the night, that kind of thing. Make sure your home is safe, but your first defense is your smoke alarm, because
I
it's
guess-
going to alert you to something
Because I
wrong.
guess one of the toughest things for you as a firefighter is you get to these things and they didn't have this, they didn't have that,
Mm-hmm.
and you think, "Oh, if they'd only done that,
It would be okay.
that'd be okay." That's probably the
Yep.
worst thing about being a firefighter, right? Okay, so let's look at things for now. We've looked at how to put out a fire. We've looked at what you need to do to get out of a room if there's fire. And we're going to come back a little bit later on, and we're going to sort of put this all together in one little fire demonstration here on Morning Live. All right, folks, here's where the rubber meets the road, as they say. Here is a live demonstration of what happens when a house just goes up. And with me is Chief Scott LAWSON from Port Colborne. And Chief, just tell me what's going on here and what are we seeing?
Well, what we have is your basic content fire within a house. You can see that we had the smoke alarm activate. We've got a working smoke alarm.
And it went
in there.
fast, too.
It
It
went
did-
fast. It doesn't take a whole lot of smoke to get that activated. And this is the critical part about our home escape plans, is without that smoke alarm, we wouldn't get the notification to implement that plan.
I'm seeing black smoke. Is that usually black?
Definitely. So that's one of the things that we can tell that it's a content fire, because so much of our furniture and materials in our home are synthetic anymore, which is an oil base. That's actually a petroleum product burning, and that's where we're getting that black smoke.
And we're getting some good heat here.
We're getting
so-
some good heat. We're probably closing in 8 to 1,000 degrees on the ceiling. So just think about opening your turkey this weekend. You're hitting, you open the oven door and that was 350 degrees. How uncomfortable
warm
that
enough.
was.
That was warm
You
enough.
can
Whoa.
feel how uncomfortable this is. So
We're backing up.
At this
we're
point,
backing up.
it's not survivable.
Okay, so again, just to put this in perspective, it's the smoke that gets you, it's not the fire.
9 out of 10 times, it's that smoke that's going to get you. So, not that we're older or anything, but in the olden days, the furnitures and the things that we had in our house were more wood-based. And we've all sat outside around that fireplace. You get a little bit of smoke in your face. It's not terrible, right? You're not going unconscious. This black smoke nowadays is so toxic with the carbon monoxide and all the other chemicals within that smoke. One good lungful, it's going to make you incapable of trying to escape that fire.
Okay, so you've been around almost 20 years now. You started as a volunteer,
Yep.
and now you're the chief, so there's lots of opportunity to do things with the fire department. So what have you seen as maybe the thing that people mostly don't do? Because you're dealing with mistakes all the time.
Yeah, it's the human factor, and I think a lot of it is the distractions that we have in our life. within Ontario, I'm going to say 30% of our fires are caused by cooking, and a lot of times that's because we're doing other things when we're cooking. We're leaving the kitchen, you know, the kids are yelling in the basement, or I get distracted by my phone.
Yep.
So the best thing that we can do is be present in what we're doing within our homes, and a lot of our fires can be prevented.
Right. And it starts with a smoke detector.
It does start with a smoke detector, or alarm, I should say.
Yep.
To give us that notification that something's going on, so that we can get our family out of that structure.
Okay, and again, have a plan. We talked about that, so we've given you lots of great information. And again, if you have questions, call the fire department because they'll talk you through things.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. I mean, we have a very active department here within our community, and I'd rather come meet you on a good day and not your bad day.
Okay, well, thanks, Chief, for letting us come in and setting this all up. Great demonstrations this morning, as always, here in Port Colborne. With us now is the gang here and Chief Lawson. And again, make sure you've got a smoke detector, make sure you've got a fire extinguisher, and know how to use it so that you don't have to think about it at the time. It just becomes sort of rote out there.
That
you just
muscle
do it.
memory.
Yep, exactly that. So that's a look at things for now. It's Fire Prevention Week, so put it in the back of your mind, think about it this week, and do something about it to make it a more positive situation around your own home.